That's right, friends. Coming Toon, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is going to be opening up at the Disneyland Resort in just a little over a month. And then 2 months after that, we will see the opening of the all-new Toontown. Greetings, fellow citizens of Disneyland. Bricky here. Today's adventure, let's check out 13 different ways that Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is going to change Disneyland. At the end of the night, it's funny to think about rope dropping, but hey, it's a big part of making the most of your Disneyland day. So this thoroughfare right here is going to be jam-packed with people trying to make their way to the back corner of the park to get to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway before anybody else does. Make no doubt about it, rope drop is going to for real change when Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway come online, because there's going to be an influx of people that want to get it out of the way first thing in the morning, that don't want to pay for upgrades, good on you, that are going to be flooding all through arteries of Disneyland that traditionally haven't had a lot of flow because there hasn't been an e-ticket at the end of that path waiting for guests ready to start the day off with an amazing attraction. Now, one of the obvious changes, of course, will be the traffic patterns of Toontown. More people coming into the land ever before, and a land that traditionally skewed mostly towards families and people with smaller citizens of Disneyland. That's going to change when there's a big e-ticket in there bringing in people from all walks of life. And when they're in there, they're going to want to check out the new land and maybe ride some attractions that they've written off. That will affect their wait times for everything else inside of Toontown. With Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, we have definitely seen the demand for the Millennium Falcon is very much dependent on what's happening with Rise of the Resistance. So I would anticipate to see a new wave of wait times for Roger Rabbit as well as the Go Coaster, because there will be people inside of Toontown that are killing time, waiting for their ride time, or maybe just got off of Mickey and Minnie, and while they're already in that part of the park, they're looking for a quick win. So keep in mind that new attractions, when they open, creates a demand for the entire land that it resides in. And wait times that you possibly knew before for the previous attractions inside of Toontown could very much change, at least for the first 6 months to 18 months. So there's going to be an influx of new people and new traffic patterns to learn about inside of Toontown. So best bet, pack a little patience when you go to Toontown when it reopens, because it's going to be a completely different experience than what we've known. Does Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway mean that for the first time ever inside of Disneyland proper, there will be 2 pay-per-ride lightning lanes? There's 2 right now. Radiator Racers is an individual lightning lane that you can purchase, and so is Rise of the Resistance. But when Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway goes online, will there be 2 in Disneyland for the first time ever? Because they're not going to take Rise off of the pay-per-ride list, but another big attraction could mean that we have 2 for the first time. If there were to be 2 pay-per-ride inside of Disneyland and then 1 over in DCA, Radiator Racers, that would make that process extremely expensive if you were to buy all 3 of them. You'd have to buy your Genie Plus and then 3 pay-per-ride attractions as well if you were to do all of them. I mean, you don't have to do all of them, but just saying, for people that are in from out of town that want to experience everything, that could get quite costly pretty quickly. Which then would bring to question, if they don't do a pay-per-ride for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, will we see the virtual queue return, which we first saw at the Disneyland Resort for Rise of the Resistance, and then again for the next big attraction, Spider-Man Web Slingers? Will the free virtual queue come back? Or do you think we'll get some sort of bizarre mix where there's a virtual queue that's for free, but for people that really want to ride, they could buy the attraction a la carte? We haven't seen before this all coexist together. So it's going to be interesting to see when a new e-ticket comes online, how will that change Genie Plus and the a la carte lightning lane, the pay-per-ride lightning lanes. I'm fascinated to see how all of this plays out. Now, traditionally, one of the more sleepier stops on the Disneyland Railroad has been the Toontown station. In the past, Mickey's Toontown Depot, typically a lot of people don't get on because this has been a sleepier corner of the park, and a lot of people don't get off because other than Small World or maybe trying to get into Fantasyland, there's not really a reason for most folks to get on and off this train stop. However, when this becomes the main shortcut or main mode of transportation to get over to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, you're going to see a lot more people getting off of this train stop, and as well, lots of people that have just rode the new attraction and discovered the new land, walking over to hop the train to go off to their next destination. So a stop that had traditionally been a very, very sleepy and quiet stop on the Disneyland Railroad is probably going to turn into one of the busiest stops on the Disneyland Railroad for quite a while, as a lot of people will be coming and going inside and out of Toontown. I think another attraction that's going to surprise people is a resurgence in popularity for It's a Small World. If you're already doing Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and you're already back in this corner of the park, you're going to probably knock off It's a Small World or do a ride that normally has not too long of a wait time and burn off a little time while you're waiting for that lightning lane or virtual queue to open up for the new e-ticket attraction. So Small World fans, when the ride reopens, I would anticipate a new resurgence of people back here just because this part of the park is going to come alive again, and that does mean that wait times for It's a Small World will probably go up a little bit for a while. On many days during the summer, this area right through here would be packed with people wanting to do the Mickey and Minnie meet and greet. I anticipate that those people will be very excited to get back into Mickey and Minnie's house, but with a new crowd joining them, people are there for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. So character meet and greet times are going to probably be the longest that you've seen in quite some time, at least for a while. Both Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and Toontown are lands that are on the other side of the berm, meaning they're self-contained lands that extended the footprint of Disneyland. And once you're in them, you're not actually in the other side of the park. Disney loves these self-contained lands because the self-contained lands efficiently take a huge population of Disneyland and remove them from the rest of the park. When you're in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, you're in a population all of your own. The same will be for Toontown and the high demand for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, taking a huge portion of the citizens of Disneyland and extracting them from the rest of the park and pushing them beyond the berm. So what does this mean? Well, Toontown is going to be a lot busier than before, but will we see a noticeable shift in other parts of the park? Because when Star Wars Galaxy's Edge opened up, we definitely did see parts of the park for a while way more vacant than we had seen them in quite a long time, if not ever. So these lands that are on the other side of the berm do a lot of heavy lifting on removing people out and freeing up other spaces in the park. It'll definitely be interesting to see if Toontown gathers a large crowd, how does that play into the rest of the park? With Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway finally putting an e-ticket inside of Toontown, will that land finally feel like it's on par with all the other great lands that the hub shoots us off to? For a long time, if you go in that direction, you had Matterhorn, which is great. You had Small World, which is debatable among some people. I happen to love it, but there wasn't that big e-ticket for the entire family. Friends, let me tell you, I've been fortunate enough to ride this ride several times out at Hollywood Studios at Walt Disney World, and I absolutely love it. And I think it is going to be the thing that completes the quiet back corner of Disneyland. And why that matters so much is that will take heavy lifting off of the other spokes of the hub, as typically in the mornings, people seem to go in the same directions, but now they'll have to decide between heading over to Toontown and Fantasyland, or maybe Frontierland and Adventureland to those lands, or New Orleans Square, or Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, or the Tomorrowland crowd trying to get that first rip on Space Mountain. More options means people will go in more directions, which will lessen the amount of traffic in all directions. That's why it's a win for everybody. And does Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and eventually a finished Toontown continue the over-demand for Disneyland? When Star Wars Galaxy's Edge opened up, it created a huge extra demand for Disneyland, and then Avengers Campus was created to offset some of that demand. Because after all, Avengers Campus was designed to take some of the weight off of Disneyland, but it just hasn't quite done that yet. I'm going to say been underperforming, and that's only because it doesn't fully have everything that it needs to compete with Disneyland, such as the e-ticket attraction that we all hope will come sometime soon. But for right now, Disneyland still does all the heavy lifting at the Disneyland Resort, and Avengers Campus helped out a bit, but it wasn't a difference maker. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and Toontown coming back bigger and better than ever could potentially once again create an even more uneven scale between the two parks of the Disneyland Resort. A quick bit of trivia for you. Which land rope drops twice in one day? Why, it's Fantasyland. And my question for you is, will Toontown also be a land that now rope drops twice in one day? As I'm sure you probably know, Fantasyland closes at around 8:30, 9 o'clock every night for the fireworks. And then it reopens after they do the safety inspection from the fireworks that are shot off from Sleeping Beauty Castle. Toontown historically has always just closed once and never reopened. As the land was intended for small kids and families, Disneyland never brought Toontown back open after the fireworks, which the second wave of fireworks launched from the backside of Toontown. With a major e-ticket attraction being inside of Toontown, will they reopen the land so people can enjoy Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway from 10 o'clock to midnight? Or will they do the Rise of the Resistance model and just close it down at 8 o'clock for the rest of the night, taking two major e-tickets offline and potentially two attractions that people are paying extra to ride? That's probably the biggest question that everybody has about the future of Toontown and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. How will it affect fireworks? How will it affect the evenings at Disneyland? If you're curious what I think it'll do to After Dark events, watch this video right here where we talk all about After Dark events that are coming to Disneyland in 2023 and what that could mean for getting maybe an easier way to ride Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, or maybe a little bit of disappointment. It's all in this video right here.